Hello, Sandra. I'm so glad that you were able to come today. You know that I am Elisa Lambert, and this is my capstone presentation. It's for my uh, Professional Studies Bachelor in Early Childhood Education. This capstone does represent the work of 2 semesters, and when you agreed to be my stakeholder, I appreciated it so much. I don't think we knew what we were getting into, but your support gave me confidence in myself, but it also gave me confidence that you believed what I was doing would be beneficial for not only my grades at school, but for our work. The background about education co-ops is this. They were established in 1985 to support schools in the school districts in Arkansas. And by having these co-ops, school districts that could not on their own provide services could provide services in a cooperative manner. The Individuals with Disabilities Education Act charges the states that they address the needs of infants and toddlers who are experiencing developmental delays. And these services are offered by our Early Childhood Special Ed on behalf of our co-op members and the school district members. Special education services are offered and provided in the child's natural environment. We go into Arkansas Better Chance programs, daycares, preschools, private and parochial schools, even homes if the children are home-based. In 2014-15, the child count for the Early Childhood Special Ed at Dawson was 400. The success of reaching and identifying more children with developmental delays and disabilities requires that our department fill open positions, and these positions are being caused by retirement and other attrition causes. And the purpose of this project was, from its beginning, federal early intervention has tried to be based on the best research of the time. Today's early childhood special ed programs and systems are complex, and because they are governed by the rule of law, and their changes can happen at any time. An example is that recently the Department of Education handed down guidelines that all IEPs, or individual education plans, would be aligned with grade level state standards. Well, that caused a little bit of going back and looking at the IEPs and rewriting them to be at this. Consistent training and expectations for all employees is important. It's so important. And we need to have an emphasis on new hires. Whenever we looked at the situation of our training for our new hires, we identified that there is a lack of training documents for new hires to refer to as they perform their duties. The current method of on-the-job training and word-of-mouth changes leads to misunderstandings and excessive calls to the administrative staff in Arkadelphia. And these calls are coming from teachers and from the therapists and from the paraprofessionals. So I went in and I looked at this situation and I did some research. The method and the procedure that I used was I sent a questionnaire to the 19 early childhood special ed employees. 63% will return. There were limitations in this survey, and the first one is the fact that there was only one survey sent. And this could limit the areas of concern that was expressed and addressed by those who returned them. The other limitation was that there was a follow-up interview, and this was limited to the teachers and therapists in Saline County only. Whenever I got the surveys returned, none of them were excluded from the analysis. There were some expressed desires. Number one was that there was a request for more meetings as a group throughout the year, and this would allow the teachers and therapists to find out what's going on in other counties and to compare what they're doing and what they're hearing, because sometimes it becomes that whisper in the ear, word of mouth, where things get changed by the time it gets to the implementation. Here were the findings. As you'll see on slide 6, 83% feel that they do have adequate training in procedures and paperwork. But there were specific training requests. 24% asked for autism spectrum disorders and their associated classroom behaviors, additional training. 30% of the returns just wanted specific behavior training. 20% asked for assistance in curriculum. 16% requested fine motor skills, and there was a 10% of no response where they had specific training requests. When asked about desire for professional development, 25 did say they wanted help dealing with behavior. 17% asked for help in curriculum choices and lesson plans for the itinerant teacher. 20% asked for teaching assistance in the autism spectrum disorders, and 13% did ask for specific training that addressed fine motor delays. One issue regarding our job is that 33% did state that time management was the one issue that they feel they faced in completing their jobs. And the area of concern that was most prevalent was travel time. They feel that the window of opportunity to see students is limited by the centers where they go and the teachers in those classrooms. They prefer that we not come at breakfast, during circle time, during nap, during lunch, and if we could get there 10 minutes before they go home, that might be an okay time. And so we really need at some point to address how we communicate with these centers and the teachers about how we need to be able to come in and work in the natural environment in the classroom with the students with minimum disruption for the teachers. But here is our big finding. The question asked, where do you find the checklist in completing a student folder? The reason I felt that this was so important is because the folders are our record. And this is an official record, and this is a record governed by law. Four of the respondents said that they use a checklist from the office. 3 of the respondents said, I have no idea. 2 had no response. 3 had no response. And 2 said that they use the Arkansas Department of Education Special Ed website. If you look at those numbers, and the 3 that have no idea and the 3 that have no response, that makes this a 50-50 proposition that the teachers and the therapists in the field know how to put together a folder. And this is where I feel that we can make a change, and a positive change that will help our office and help free up time of the people who are going behind in fixing these folders. My recommended action is this. The survey shows a definite need for a document that gives guidance on where to find the information and what a folder put together looks like. There is a need to establish a department example folder. This training folder will have the correct report templates. And Sandra, you've already started this process by having committees design the standard report templates back in February and March. The supplies that we need to do this are on hand, and I estimated the cost that the 25 folders would be $50 to produce. The people that can put these folders together are your support staff. They can create the folders. There's no additional cost or schedule changes required, and this work could be completed during the summer months, in the summer of 2016, ready to be handed out in August of 2016 when we come back for our beginning of year. The example folder would be provided by the intake coordinator. Now, I do have a suggestion on what to do after the folders are made. And this is that you use your three paraprofessionals to be monitors. And they're responsible for getting the updates into the teachers and therapist folders in their counties. This would work much like the tech order monitor did when I was in the Air Force. It puts the responsibility of changes on one person, and therefore the changes get done, and there is an accountability. The changes would come from the office, go to the paraprofessional, they would make copies of the changes and make the changes into the individual folders. I have a conclusion, and my conclusion is this, is that there needs to be follow-up research. There needs to be some follow-up research that determines how best to address these other areas of concern that were found in this survey process. On the whole, I think that everything is positive and that there was no negative attitudes that were shown up, so I think that we can build on this positive process of interchanging ideas. And I want to thank you again for your assistance. And please let me know if you have any questions about my survey, about my research, or about this process. And I again, thank you so much for coming.